In today's video, I'm trying out Assetto Corsa EVO's latest, very exciting update for F1 fans as it brings the 2025 Ferrari SF-25 to the game as a free update along with 3 variant livery. And it marks the very first time that a modern era F1 car is coming to Assetto Corsa natively. No mods involved. I'm going to start off this video with my headline thoughts. After an hour with this car and the 0.4 update, which will upgrade to not only the cars but the gameplay, physics with the tires and the powertrain and other graphical and car specific improvements, I'll sum it up like this. The car itself, the SF-25, a lot of fun to drive. It was a really great F1 experience on Assetto Corsa EVO, which I was surprised at because in the past on Assetto Corsa, the first game, generally F1 cars, I always thought, never felt that great and really felt quite disjointed all of the time. Whereas this, it felt like, well, like it's meant to in a way, I feel. It was a lot of fun getting up to speed with things. The AI, they still need a lot of work, but the car itself was modeled really beautifully. There's still massive improvements to make elsewhere around the game. It's still a very bare bones game, but I'll put it this way. I think there is a lot of potential, massive potential for this to be such a fun platform for Formula One racing. If this is just a taster of things to come, this was a very good first impression. But let's now get into the meat of the gameplay to actually show you why I have those headline thoughts. So in practice, vehicle setup screen looks a bit overcomplicated, but actually when you really look at it, very similar parameters to the EA Sports F1 game. Some unique things though is a lot more in-depth management with the electronics, the engine mapping, ERS deployment maps, recharge levels, and ERS heating charging. So all of these things can be adjusted on the fly from the cockpit. So I had to spend quite a bit of time mapping all the different buttons to change ERS modes and engine mappings ready for this first outing, which was very exciting because, like I said, the first time a modern era F1 car has come to the Assetto Corsa brand. And this is pretty cool. Going down the pit lane here in Imola for the very first time. And it's just so sick to see an F1 car from this year in a different game, fully licensed and recreated beautifully. And I've got to say, Assetto Corsa EVO has maybe had a bit of a slow start in early access, but it's content like this that gets me very excited for the future, because essentially all this game needs to do for me personally, when driving an F1 car like this, it needs to feel better than the original Assetto Corsa game, and hopefully in the future is going to be open enough to getting mod content in the same way we've got with the original Assetto Corsa game. Because apart from that, the original game was pretty great. It just needed a graphical upgrade to bring it into the modern 2025 onwards era, which it clearly has, I think you'll agree, in terms of the looks. And then let me tell you, in terms of the feel, so the clip you're watching now is me on my 3rd onto 4th flying lap, I think this is, of this session. And now I'm in the groove and I can try and push the limits a little bit more of this car. I've not played around with this setup because I wanted to do default setup, because that's what I do on the F125 game, is default. I will say there was a weird thing where 8th gear actually wasn't giving me the oomph it should. Like I was going from 7th gear, you could run 7th gear all the way down to that first complex here in Imola, which shouldn't be the case, obviously. You should be still gaining some speed in 8th gear. So that was the only gripe and weird foible I had with this car and the way it drove around Imola. But I gotta say, comparing it to my experience of Imola on F125, there are a lot of similarities of having that good feeling, that enjoyable feeling of driving this F1 car. The positive differences are on Assetto Corsa, with my updated wheel settings with the T598, I felt like the weight feeling was a lot more apparent, and there was more feeling of the car on the road and the weight shifting in the lower corners, which I really enjoyed. I would say it was a little bit harder to find the limit and know where the limit was on Assetto Corsa EVO compared to F125, but I think that just comes down with seat time. I think if I played as many hours of this with this car as I do on F125, I would then feel more comfortable at finding the limit. Like, this isn't going to be the fastest lap you've ever seen. I'm going to find way more time, though I did way more laps basically. But it was amazing to me that within like 10 laps of trying this car out on this game, that it felt fun for me, which I'm going to be completely honest, no F1 car, mod or native on the original Assetto Corsa game, ever felt truly like, oh, I feel comfy, I can really push, and I can have fun with it. There was always an air of, I need to watch out because I know this car understeers X, Y, and Z more than the official F1 game. I need to be wary because it could just snap on me and the curb could spit me out. And there was just a feeling of disjointedness no matter what single seater car I drove on the original Assetto Corsa game, mod or native. Whereas this, straight off the bat, I was like, oh wow, okay, I'm pleasantly surprised, and this is a brilliant foundation to build on. But now I know a lot of you will be curious about the direct comparison to F125, so here we are, no commentary. Here's just a pure lap-to-lap comparison of F125 to Assetto Corsa EVO with the same car, same track. So clearly the official F1 game, the physics of the cars make it a lot quicker than here in Assetto Corsa EVO. That's always been an issue, an ongoing thing, that the F1 games have generally been a lot quicker than real-life Formula 1, and so it's apparent here from game to game as well. That's a whole different topic for another day to debate. I'm not going to get into the X, Y, and Z of that, basically. But let's now get into a little quick race here around Imola using the Monza livery. Now, a bit of a slow, shaky start for a bunch of AI here. That was always an issue on the original Assetto Corsa game, that the AI had to be a lot better at start, so clearly they still need a lot of work in that department. One thing I will note straight off the bat, you'll see my tyres are ice cold. I don't know why on earth it loaded us into this quick race with cold, brick cold tyres for me and clearly the AI, because they were spinning left, right, and centre here as we have to take evasive action. Very quick thinking from yours truly to evade two spun AI. But that's one thing they need to update very quickly, is when you load into a quick race, the tyres should just be up to temperature. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't be, especially if you're playing with the F1 cars. They should be up to temperature if you're not going to give us the chance to warm them up on a formation lap, basically. And then the AI themselves, I think at Imola, clearly there was some issue going on because they were constantly spinning at this chicane, basically. I didn't really get a full chance to go side by side and try some wheel-to-wheel racing this first Imola race. I just wanted to show it without, glamorizing it. There were, 3 different spins. So that's where the AI are at right now, at least on Imola. That's why I say at the top of the video, the AI need a lot of work, a lot of work. And I know it's a tough one, because I get the sense, just like with the original Assetto Corsa game, they're not going to prioritize that, because primarily they build it to be more of a multiplayer game, don't they? I mean, there is a massive part of this game that's meant to be career mode with like an in-game economy and stuff like that. So I feel like they should be prioritizing AI if they want that side of the game to work. But this was a second race. Now at sunset, the game looking gorgeous, by the way. But just a car park of Ferraris in this race. So that was unfortunate. I did think, though, this was probably maybe an Imola specific issue. So I thought, let's test this out somewhere else. Let's test this out around Spa-Francorchamps, and let's see if we can get some racing around there and see how the AI are around there. And also, we can see how this car is around Spa, because I know it feels amazing around Imola. Let's see how it feels around Spa. Another legendary circuit. Another circuit, obviously, on the official F1 game, they did update recently. So, this is a nice kind of, like-for-like comparison, basically. So, this time, again, AI a little bit slow, but I did get a chance to try and go down the inside of one of the AI, and he chopped me off. So, that was quite good, actually, to be fair, of him being a bit aggressive. But, again, I had to really weave around and warm up the tyres because of this loading into the quick race and it being brick cold. So trying to get temps in, and I felt like that was the key to catching up to the cars ahead of me, because we weren't able to catch many cars around Imola. I thought if I could warm up my tyres, and also I lowered the fuel as well in this Spa race to actually be enough fuel just for the laps I'm doing, whereas in Imola I had like 50 litres of fuel, which just isn't needed. Around Spa I've done about 10 litres of fuel. So now I'm actually rapidly gaining on these guys now, probably a bit too much. So this is very similar scenes to what we had in a video I did earlier in the year with the F-2004 Ferrari, where we were actually too quick for the AI. In Imola, it seemed like they were a bit too quick for me, and this was all of these races on the highest difficulty the AI come with at the moment on the game, by the way. So just showing that, yeah, there is a lot of work to do, but what I'm focusing on is the fact that my experience with the car, driving it, was really great, was really fun. As I said, from Imola to Spa, I was able to push. It felt as comfy as it did on F1-25. And that's a game I play every single day, every single week. So the fact that within, a total number of like 20 laps, within about an hour of playing, I felt like I could push this car and it felt at home like another game that I play every single day, is a massive kudos, because yeah, it just never was like that on the original Assetto Corsa game. So this was a really great first impression of the Ferrari SF-25. So for me, from this point, if they can just do a lot of work on the AI to make them better to race, obviously sort out these race starts, and actually have some good wheel-to-wheel racing, and if I can figure out the best way to set up the race, I guess, with the distance, also figure out the fuel and also the ERS, because I still really didn't understand the ERS in terms of the deployment modes and the mapping, because I never felt like ERS was going down that much on the bottom right on the heads-up display. But I had one lap at the end of this Spa race just to push the car, and you'll see in this next section where I commit a lot to poo on here in a similar way I do on F1-25, and that was great to see that you could push this car to the limits, flat out that was in poo on, and then here through this right and left, really chucking in down third gear, then come bringing across, then get on the curb, plant the power, bringing across to the right, break down now, third gear, second gear to get the nose turned in, get on the power again, and it's all just feeling at home. Whereas on Assetto Corsa, the old original game, you just would never have got that, I think. You just would never have felt that comfy in the native Ferrari F1 cars they had. I think it was the 2015 Ferrari, wasn't it? And other mods. Just not the same. Night and day, hand on heart. This felt really great. And in the wet as well. It was quite fun, actually. I ventured out around the Red Bull Ring on intermediates. Now, it was actually heavy rain. The game put me on inters, so this wasn't actually the right tyre for the situation, but I just wanted to try it out basically to see what it was like. And it was pretty nice, actually. I could get a feel, again, because the force feedback's a lot better on this game, I would say, with the feeling on the road and the weight shifting. I actually felt quite good even on inters here, and actually having to change to full wets was a good reminder of things that this game has that the official F1 game doesn't have. Like manual pit lane driving. How awesome would this be on the official F1 game you know, the new one coming out in 2027, if they could do manual driving like this, where we can turn into the pit box ourselves, brake, get on the marks, and then change tires, that would be great. And this game has that with the SF-25. Going out on the full wet tires was definitely the right tire, was definitely a lot more grip. Graphically, the wet weather definitely needs a bit of work. You know, there's no rain droplets, there's no real spray, there's this weird sort of permanent fog, which I guess is kind of cool, but also at the same time makes the game just feel a little bit too foggy, I would say. So some improvements there to be made. You know, there's no spray off the tires, but stuff like that they're probably not prioritizing. They're probably prioritizing the physics a lot more, but I think they need to prioritize the AI as well, especially if they want to make that career mode side of the game work. Like, you load into the game and there's career mode and then free play mode. So clearly career mode's meant to be a big part of this game. So I probably won't ever play a lot of the career mode because I'm just only interested in the F1 side of this game. But if they want to make that a decent mode, they would need to work on this AI, which currently, at least with the F1 cars, is really not there. But I see the potential, because if the AI could drive the car in the way you, the player, can, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this game for F1 content in the future, be it native F1 content, or I'm hoping in the future maybe getting some F1 mods in. But it's very early days, the game's still in early access, and we don't really know what the deal is with mods in the future. But, you know, it's a case of, you know, Assetto Corsa, the original game, that, like, you know, that came out, what, 2014? So 10 plus years ago. So there is so much life to go of this game. It's so early days, and from what I'm seeing right now, I am really excited to see how this progresses slowly in the future. And this was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Guys, if you have enjoyed it, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.